Welcome to Suhail's Paramedical and Nursing Academy. I was explaining about, in the previous lecture, I explained about the why should we conserve biodiversity. Why should we conserve biodiversity? What are the benefits that are helpful for us because of which we are conserving the biodiversity? So what are the benefits that human is getting? So that for that purpose we should conserve biodiversity. So I told there are direct benefits and there are indirect benefits. Direct, that the humans know what are the benefits that we are getting directly from the plant. So we are cutting the animals, we are cutting the plants, and we are killing the animals, we are hunting the animals. So this is our direct benefit. What are the indirect benefits that indirectly we are getting? We are indirectly getting from the plants and animal species, that is from the biodiversity. Suppose oxygen we are getting from the atmosphere, that comes from the plant species that is present on the which are present on the Earth's biosphere, the plant species. I told about the tropical Amazonian rainforest. The 20% of the oxygen is coming from the tropical Amazonian rainforest. Then I told there are classification 3 reasons. There are 3 reasons because of which we are conserving the biodiversity. One is narrow utilitarian reasons, broad utilitarian reasons, and ethical reasons. So these three reasons force us to conserve biodiversity. So in narrow utilitarian reasons, I told what are the narrow utility reasons because of which we should conserve biodiversity, because of which we should protect the biodiversity. In that in the narrow I told we are getting the food readiness, we are getting the tannin, food, fiber, lubricants, and other materials, firewood, constructive material, industrial products, and I told medicines. I told more than 25% of the drugs which are present in the world. More than 25% of drugs which are being used worldwide, or we are getting from the biodiversity, from the plants. Then I told that there are more than 25,000 plant species which are used for the formation of traditional medications, that is Ayurvedic medicines. This was the narrow utilitarian reason. Then I told a broad utilitarian reason. What are the broad concepts because of which? I told there is oxygen that is coming from the Amazon rainforest. So oxygen is also a reason. Another is where the pollination is only when there are plants, when there are birds, when there are animals, when there are birds, then only there can occur pollination. When there is pollination, then only there is the formation of seeds and fruits. When there is formation of seeds and fruits, then only we will get any benefit. And one more thing I told that in the narrow utilitarian reason there are aesthetic values. What happiness we are getting from the biodiversity. What our soul also feels peaceful inside the biodiversity. So this is also another concept. I told there is one more reason, that is ethical reason. So Earth is not only our property. Every living organism has a right to live on the Earth. So for that reason also we should conserve biodiversity. Today what I am going to explain, I am going to explain about the methods of conserving biodiversity. So methods of biodiversity conservation. Methods of biodiversity conservation. So what are the different methods? What are the different ways by which we can conserve biodiversity? If we see, this is the government level. At the higher level, what are the methods we can use for the biodiversity? At the people level also, or on the common people level, for our level, in our level, what should we do for the conservation of biodiversity? So everyone knows. I want to add here one more point, that is the use of biodiversity. So use of biodiversity, use of biodiversity in the way that our future generations can also see this biodiversity, can also see this biodiversity. So what are them? So for our future generation, we should think about our future generation. We have to think about the future generation. What we should do so that we so that our future, what should we do that so that our future generation will also get the benefit from it? For that, I am seeing the term that is called as sustainable way of biodiversity use. So we should use the biodiversity in the sustainable ways. Sustainable way means we should use the plants, we should use the animals in as per our need. But we should not use in as per our greed. So if we use biodiversity as per our need, what will happen? Our future generation will also get the benefit of. They can also see this biodiversity. So they can also say that the biodiversity is still present. So we should think about the future generation. That concept is called as sustainable development. That development is called as sustainable development. That way is called as sustainable way of biodiversity use. So this was all one concept, that this concept we can use at our local level. So what are the different ways by which government has used to conserve biodiversity? So government has used two methods. One is called as biodiversity conservation. The conservation of biodiversity, the government has used two methods to conserve biodiversity. One is called as in-situ conservation. Another is called as ex-situ conservation. So what is in-situ conservation and what is ex-situ conservation? In-situ means in the same natural habitat. Ex-situ means in the external natural habitat. That is outside the natural habitat. That is called as ex-situ. So here the plants and animals. See, in in-situ conservation, the biodiversity, the plants and animals are being protected. They are being protected in their natural habitat. So natural habitat means where the plant is present, where the animal is present, what is its natural habitat. At the same place we will protect that plant and animal. This is called as in-situ conservation. This is called as natural. This habitat is called natural habitat where they are present. So if we are using outside, that is called as artificial. We are using artificial conservation. So we are conserving by means of our artificial way, by anthropogenic way. So by artificial way we are conserving the biodiversity. So outside natural habitat. So outside natural habitat we are conserving the biodiversity. That is called as ex-situ conservation. That conservation is called as ex-situ conservation when we are conserving outside the natural habitat. So this is one point, that is outside and inside the natural habitat. So here what will happen in ex-situ conservation? Remember, see here, there are one more point in the in-situ conservation, that plants and animals, the biodiversity, the plants and animals are present in the same natural habitat. So what will happen in this and one more reason is there. Why should we do in-situ and ex-situ conservation? If the plant and animal is present inside the natural habitat, why should we take this plant and animal into the ex-situ conservation, into the outside the natural habitat? Why should we do this? Because these have in-situ conservation. Ex-situ conservation only occurs when there is high risk of extinction risk. When any plant and animal has a risk of extinction, we are using the method that is ex-situ conservation. Because in natural habitat, the plant has a risk, the animal has a risk to become an extinct. It is vulnerable. Vulnerable means it has risk in the future to become an extinct. That is why we are doing ex-situ conservation. So those who don't have the risk of any risk of extinction, those we are protecting in the in-situ conservation. Okay. So here, and this is an human forced habitat. So we are trying to make the habitat same as the natural habitat. So here human is involved for the protection of the plants and animals, but here there will be natural habitat, no involvement of human, because here there will be a natural boundary. So we will make a boundary on that part of biodiversity that which we want to conserve. That is called ex-situ conservation. That is called in-situ conservation. In ex-situ conservation, we are taking that plant. If we are taking, see what will happen. If we are taking plant outside, we are making what is called as zoological. That is called as botanical garden. Botanical garden. In botanical garden, we are protecting the plants which have high risk of extinction. So we are protecting in the garden, in a separate garden, that is called a botanical garden. And in botanical garden, there is a name tag on every plant. Name tag means that is called binomial nomenclature. Every plant is having in botanical garden. Every plant is having the name tag, that is binomial nomenclature, because of which we can easily recognize which plant is present in this external natural habitat. In botanical garden, another is zoological garden. In zoological park. In zoological parks, we are taking the animals from natural habitat and protecting in the parks. Those are called as zoological park, because zoo means animal, bot means plant. Botanical garden. Okay. We are using one more thing that is called as cryopreservation. One is that is called a seed bank. Nowadays, seed banks are used so that we are protecting the seeds. We are taking the seeds of the plants and preserving it. That is called in the banks. Those are called seed banks. Another is that is called as gamete preservation. Remember the gamete preservation. The gametes of high risk plants and animals. High risk plants and animals who have the risk of extinction. Those gametes of those species are taken out, and the gametes are being preserved in the cryopreservation technique. Cryopreservation technique means there will be minus 100 degrees Celsius temperature, so that these gametes are being preserved in that. Mostly we have seen the sperms of the cow, the sperms for the cow, that we are seeing that in the if we see in the another way, that those are called as this veterinary. In veterinary system, we are seeing that they are having these big boxes where sperms are being stored. That is called a cryopreservation. So in cryopreservation techniques, we can store the gametes, either male gamete or female gamete, so that in future, if we found that we can fuse those gametes in the future and we can protect. If the plant became an extinct, so that we will be having the gametes, we can make an in vitro fertilization. In vitro means outside fertilization. Outside fertilization will be there, so we can make a plant or animal. Another is that is called a tissue culture. Another is here that is called tissue culture. In tissue culture what is being taken? A part of the plant, mostly tip of the plant tree is taken, that has the property of totipotency. Totipotency means the plant part has a property to give rise to the new plant. The plant part has the property to grow into a new plant. In the external conditions where we are providing nutrients, hormones and other things, so that this part of the plant will grow and it forms another plant, that is called tissue culture. So by tissue culture means also we can make another plant. We can do an ex-situ conservation. So tissue culture, gamete preservation, seed bank, zoological park, botanical garden, these all are what? They are the methods by which we can conserve the biodiversity in outside the natural habitat. Inside the natural habitat, what are the different things that we are using? We are using in the natural habitat. One is called as national park. National parks we are using. Another is biosphere reserves. Biosphere reserves we are using. Biosphere reserves are there. Natural parks are there. Wildlife sanctuaries are there. Wildlife sanctuaries are there. Wildlife sanctuaries are there. How many national parks are there? So this is also a concept. In India, how many national parks are there? How many biosphere reserves are there? How many wildlife? Actually, the data is changing. But this time I will say how many are there national parks, how many biosphere. If we see wildlife sanctuaries, 567 wildlife sanctuaries are present at the present. I don't know, it may be updated, but I have seen before it was 565 wildlife sanctuaries inside the India. And there was how many biosphere? There was national parks, also there are biosphere reserves. 94 was there. I think 94. It was 94 first. I will see whether it was 94 or something else. Yeah, it was 106. Previously what happened? Previously it was 94. I know about the 94, but nowadays national parks are 106. It has been updated because I know I told you that the new national parks are being added in the India. That is 106 are at the present national parks, and biosphere reserves are 18. Previously it was 14 only. Now it is 18. Okay. So these are the wildlife sanctuaries are 567. So these are the ways by which we can do the in-situ conservation. So 3 means national park, biosphere reserve, wildlife sanctuaries. Okay. Is there anything more? This was all about in-situ and ex-situ conservation. One more thing I want to add in this, that what is in-situ and ex-situ conservation. I want to add one more thing here. I want to add that suppose if I told about the national parks, biosphere reserves and wildlife sanctuaries, I want to give some examples. If I see in my Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, in my motherland, that is Kashmir, in Kashmir there is an Dashigam National Park. Dashigam National Park. Dashigam National Park. In this national park there is one of the most important animal, that is called as hangul. One of the best animal, hangul. Hangul is an animal that is found inside the Dashigam National Park, which is present in the Kashmir region, in the Kashmir division. One more thing that is about the national park. There is another national park that is called Hemis. Hemis National Park. Hemis National Park is another national park that is found in Jammu and Kashmir, that is Ladakh. In the Ladakh division, there is found Hemis National Park is found in the Ladakh region. Dashigam National Park. These are the examples that I am providing from my own state. So this was another thing, and one more thing is that is here. See, that is wildlife sanctuary. In what is one wildlife sanctuary is in our home, that is Gulmarg. I think those who came Kashmir, they may have seen the high snowfall in the Gulmarg. They may have seen the snow in the Gulmarg. So Gulmarg is the place that is the wildlife sanctuary, where there is presence of wildlife sanctuary. Wildlife sanctuary is in the Gulmarg. So these were some of the examples that I told about the in-situ and ex-situ conservation. How we are conserving the plants in their natural habitat, that is in-situ conservation. How we are conserving the plants and animals in the outside the natural habitat, that is called as ex-situ conservation. And so I think I told everything. And one more thing I want to say here, that I told biodiversity hotspots. The biodiversity hotspots are those which are having high level of endemism. That means the species which are present in the biodiversity hotspots, those species are not found on anywhere else. That is why they are called as biodiversity hotspots. So they are having endemism. That is called endemism. Endemism is biodiversity hotspots are having endemism, and they are having high species richness. Means the species are very high there. High species richness is there. So the species are very high there. Third thing is this is called as biodiversity hotspot. In biodiversity hotspots, there is also the risk of extinction of many species. Many species are having the risk of extinction. So there is an immediate response from the government side to conserve those biodiversity hotspots. Suppose I told the biodiversity hotspot in India, I told Western Ghats, then I told Eastern Himalayas, Western Ghats, Eastern Himalaya. One more I told at that time that I forgot seeing the books. Today I got that was that is Indo-Burma hotspot. Okay, so these are the three. This was all about the conservation of biodiversity. Thank you. In the next lecture, this was all about the biodiversity. I think I have taken every part. If anything I have missed here in the biodiversity, particularly for the medical and paramedical and BSc nursing course, you can comment on the comment box. Then I will take that also in the next lecture. Thank you.